What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back for another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, episode 74. Woo! Episode 70 more, man. Thank you. You are far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad that you are here with me. I am Jesse Holley. You can see it on my shirt. The sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. And you guys know I like to get down. I like to get my motivation at the beginning of this thing. Because let's be honest, a lot of you are not going to be here at the end. But before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button. You can find Unfiltered on Apple, on Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast from, YouTube. Follow Fanatics Views. Follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, at Mr. Fourth and Long. Do what you got to do, man. Make me a part of your life. All right, man, let me get my motivation in the beginning because let's be honest, most of you will not be here at the end, and that's okay. I'm not for everybody. But here's what we got, because we got a lot to talk about today. Here's the word. It says, don't forget, while you're busy doubting yourself, someone else is admiring you for your strength. While you're busy doubting yourself, someone else is admiring you for your strength. Many times we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of our own lives that we forget sometimes that even on our worst days, there is someone praying for something as close to that. If you're on your weight journey and you're thinking to yourself, man, I only lost 10 pounds. There's somebody who's struggling to lose 5. When you're thinking about, man, not making enough money at work, there's someone who is beating the streets for employment. When you're talking, you're looking around and you're like, man, this old place, I've been living here for 10, 15 years and I want to upgrade my crib and all those things are great. There's someone who is dying to have a roof over their head. If you're a single mom or a single dad and you're talking about, having to take care of these kids and deal with these kids, there is a woman, a husband and wife, a woman, a man who are looking to have kids who cannot. They're barren. So sometimes while you're doubting yourself, when you're thinking that you can't go on and that the studying for this new career is hard, that the outlook on a new relationship or finding a new mate is hard, while you're doubting yourself at every single turn, there's someone quietly somewhere admiring just how strong you are. This is your reminder that you are good enough. This is your reminder that you are worthy enough. This is your reminder that you do matter. This is your reminder as well that it's okay to start over. It's not okay to quit. But also understand, even in your struggle, there is someone who looks at you as one of the strongest people that they know. All right, man, let's get into this conversation. I know why you're here. This is Unfiltered. I know why you're here. You know I do cowboy stuff in the A block like everybody else. You want me to talk about Jerry. I'll oblige. But I gotta, listen, Jerry threatening to fire folks around here. While Sean and RJ might not work for Jerry, there are some components of my life that actually work for Jerry. But you know how I'm going to keep it real 100%. Jerry Jones has not only doubled down, but he has tripled down on his statement. If you don't know who Jerry Jones is, he is the owner, president, and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry Jones here locally in the DFW area, does a radio show every Tuesday and Friday, I believe. But this past Tuesday, Jerry did a radio show at 105.3 The Fan, a place that I'm very familiar with. I worked there for 7, 8 years. I was fired, not by Jerry, unceremoniously. But I know the people there, good people over there. Sean and RJ was a show that Jerry Jones was on Tuesday morning. This is coming off the heels of the Cowboys getting boat raced, toyed with, embarrassed on Jerry's 82nd birthday at home in AT&T Stadium, 47-9. So, of course, Jerry would be a little bit upset. But we would all say, especially someone who's worked in the media for as long as I have, the one thing that we've always been to say about Jerry Jones was he had thick skin and the ability for him to take criticism. Well, not Tuesday. Jerry initially jumped on with Sean and RJ, and they began to have a discussion, and Jerry went left. To paraphrase, Jerry threatened to either move shows or for people to lose their jobs. Jerry called them names like yahoos. Jerry told them that you're not qualified to ask these questions. Jerry told them basically, you work for me and I'll take questions from the fans, but your line of questioning I will not accept. And it threw Sean and RJ for a loop. It threw many of us for a loop. Like, whoa, like, man, like Jerry just didn't make this about football. He made this very personal. And like many of us, we thought, all right, he's a little upset. I get it. We understand it. He'll cool down. Cooler heads will prevail. His PR team will get with him. He'll come back with a statement. At that time of his interview on Tuesday morning, he was en route to his private plane to go to Atlanta for some NFL owners meetings where I want to say unanimously, but they agreed for Tom Brady they approved Tom Brady to having 5% stake in the Vegas Raiders. And we'll talk a little bit more about that because that's some interesting things that now that Tom Brady, who works for Fox and also has a minority stake in the Vegas Raiders ownership, there's some things that old TB12 can't do now that he's an owner. But nonetheless, Jerry goes to these meetings and you thought that he would have time to reflect, time to think about the things that he did. And when he gets to Atlanta, Diana Rossini was there and she asked him questions and Jerry doubled down. He doubled down on his statement and he made it very clear what he meant. He made it very clear that there was no turning back. He made it very clear that he had the power to basically do what he wanted, when he wanted, to who he wanted, in any way he wanted to. Speaking mainly about Sean, RJ, and Bobby Belt. And even going to the owners' meeting, you would think PR team, someone reached out and someone had an opportunity to say something to Jerry. After the owner meeting was over, and this new article that came out earlier today, Jared Bell from USA Today, he got a chance to talk to Jerry after the owners' meetings, waiting outside for his transportation to take him back to the airport to get back on his PJ to come back to wherever, I guess to Dallas. Old Jared tripled down on it. And he just basically said, Jared asked him, just asked him, well, were you for real about the things that you said to the host at 105.3 The Fan. And Jerry basically said, I don't know, standing outside waiting for his SUV. He says, I'll tell you what. And he speaks of a time when Dale Hansen and Brad Sham, if you are anywhere in the locally, you know who those guys are. Brad Sham being the longtime voice of the Cowboys, and Dale Hansen being a long time, news anchor, sports news anchor here in the DFW area. He said had to take a leave when they went too far one way or another. They used to have a radio show back in the day in the early 90s. And then Jerry continued on with his comments. And Jerry asked him, Jerry's made this comment many times before about, I am the person that has the last say so. From socks to jocks. He had an article that came out this year on DLLS Cowboys at All City from Clarence Hill. And he told people there's not an MFer who can do it the way that I do it. When it comes to contracts, when it comes to business, when it comes to doing things football-wise. But then Jerry talked about, he says, that the buck stopped with the team owner in more ways than one. Jerry then alluded to, he says, but they're my own folks, Jerry said of the hosts, Sean and RJ and Bobby Belt. That's like Brad and Dale putting it on us during ball games. When Brad Sham and Dale Hansen did this years ago, Jerry kind of flexed his power and they had to take a leave of absence. But as you get more into this article, you see, and it's up, it's at USA Sports from Jared Bell. And Jerry said, I don't want to demean or undermine their credibility. Now, you've already done that. But this is where you always kind of say this. Whenever there's a but, that first part sometimes may not mean as much. He said, we were kind of set up for taking me to the woodshed. And I wasn't ready for that. I was going to talk about the very thing that they wanted to talk about, but I didn't want it before a tribunal. They're not the ones, Jones added of the host. Now the guys that are listening, meaning the fans that are listening on the station, the ticket holders and the fans, they are the ones. Jerry went on to talk about how Sean and RJ, they aren't credible enough to question him. They don't have the football. He even talked about if those guys had the answers, and Jerry talked about, don't talk about the bad things I've done without talking about the good things that I've done. And they were basically just asking Jerry, hey, Jerry, the way that this season is going, could it be indicative of the lack of off-season, and I'm doing my air quotes, all in that you said that didn't take place? And this is where the part where Jerry began to threaten their jobs. He said, I'll get someone else. He said during the segment, I'm not kidding. Jerry went on to say, they set the tone. I have fans all the time that I communicate with. They have more of a right, really, than guys that I frankly pay to put on a show. Yes, you and I both know I might get criticized when I say that. And then Jerry Bell asked him, criticized for what? Trying to squash freedom of speech? That's never been us. He said, free as a breeze here. And the article goes on and on, and you can read it. What's going on, man? It's your boy, Jay Holley. That's right, former Dallas Cowboy receiver, winner of 4th and Long with Michael Irvin, and host of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. If you're watching this video, guess what? You can be a part of this show too. You can have your ad here or here or here or here. Anywhere you decide that you want us to put it. We can have a ticker tape. We can have it on a shirt. I can put it on a hat. I just want you and us, we, me, you, together. Let's find a way to get your brand and my brand on the platform. We stream everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all over the place. I need you. You need me. Let's work together. Like teamwork. Everyone achieves more when we work together, baby. You need to be a part of this. I'm telling you, get on the ground floor because yesterday's price might not be today's price. But here's my thing when it comes to Jerry. You're right. You're absolutely right. Everything. You are the alpha and the omega when it comes to anything related to Cowboys. You are the beginning and you are the end. 100%. You made that very clear. You have let us all know for many, many years. But what is also true is that when people like Sean and RJ, myself and others that work in the media, they are qualified enough to ask you the questions. We are the vessels, the conduits from the fan base to the people in charge. What is also true, Jerry, is you volunteered for this. Because you could just be owner, president, and general manager and be out the way. Jerry, you are the only owner in all of sports who are on the radio twice a week. You are the only owner in all of sports who sets up and has a post-game press conference. You may hear a word or two every once in a blue from an owner or general manager or president of a team. But every game, you voluntarily make yourself available for conversation. You don't have to do that. Furthermore, you are responsible. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, lay at your feet. Because you are the owner, the president, and the general manager. And if we are talking about what Sean and RJ and Bobby was, this season and how this season is going, you are responsible for this. This 3-3 roster, this team that has gotten blown out at home, this team that couldn't stop a nosebleed, this team who was in disarray, this team who has a bunch of coaches on one-year deals and who has 33 players on this roster on one-year deals, it's your fault. You are the alpha and the omega of this. The buck does stop with you. So you have to take this criticism. And I get it. What happened on Sunday against the Detroit Lions was embarrassing on any front. It's even more embarrassing when they do it in your living room, your home stadium, in front of your fans. It's even more embarrassing when it's on your birthday. But what you can't do, and to your credit, Jerry, you haven't. This is a rare case where you get lemon booty and you get personal. But this falls at your feet. And the lack of accountability that you have shown over the last couple days in this instance says a lot about why your team is the way that your team is. Because your team lacks accountability. Your coaches lack accountability. The old saying in Remember the Titans, attitude reflects leadership. And you put on full display the type of leadership that we're seeing amongst your football team. When things don't go right, I flex my power because I rule with a mighty fist. When all we do is give the Cowboys a tremendous amount of coverage. All those guys were doing were asking you questions that they get peppered with via Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and when fans run into them and when fans call in and when fans are listening and doing the pre and post-game show for your team. They're not telling you how to run your team. They're simply asking questions on what is happening with the team you're responsible for. Now, could you make people lose their jobs? I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. You have enough power, enough influence, and enough cheddar to make things go left for people. I don't think that's who you are. I hope that's not who you are. I hope this was a moment of frustration. I hope this was a moment of just having a bad day. But make no mistake about this, Jerry. All of this is because this is what you wanted. You wanted to be the face of this franchise. You want to be the most recognizable owner. You want people to know at every single turn just who you are and what you mean for this team. Now, maybe this stems from the time where when you first took over this team and you were trying to stop the bleeding from happening. You were losing $1 million a month. And you turned over a lot of control to Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy came in and he took your 1-15 and your 3-13 teams and he turned them into Super Bowl champions. And maybe you didn't feel like you were getting enough credit then. And so from that point forward, you had to let and wanted to let everyone know, I am the guy. We all get it. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we will praise you and we will give you salutes and we'll give you congratulations and adoration and all of the cheers when you get things right, and we do, then you can't get upset and all of a sudden now want to rule from a place of dictatorship and out of fear and wield your powerful sword around when people ask you questions when things don't go so well. I think this time around, the Teflon Don of Jerry Jones, the shield, the thick skin that you've always worn, there may be a little dent in the armor. You can always apologize. You can always look back at this, even at 82 years old, as a learning lesson for me, for you, for all of us. That if you're going to stand up there and have your chest pumped out when things go right for your team and for your franchise and for your business and for you personally, you got to stand there when things don't. That's accountability. You have to own it, both literally and figuratively, because you let us know all the time. The buck starts and stops with Jerry. It's unfortunate that this time is that the buck that you kicked was of a petulant child, and you got to be better. You got to be better. There's a lot of people watching. You took a hit. You can rebound from it, but a hit nonetheless. Jerry wasn't the only one talking that kind of made some waves happen. Jerry's 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, Troy Aikman, his quarterback. He has a weekly spot on the radio. Everybody got weekly spots on the radio. It's one thing that you have to realize about Dallas. That's why I'm never leaving this place. I am never. The good Lord's going to have to pick O.J. Holley up and take me to a new destination. Because if you're a part of the Dallas Cowboys, there's always employment. Always. But Troy Aikman, he does a weekly spot on a local radio station here. The other radio station here, The Ticket, DFW, The Ticket. And Troy had some pretty interesting things to say. I'm not going to lie. It shocked me a little bit. Because Troy can be very candid at times. It can be very blunt. It can be very honest. And that's okay. I do want to get to a point where I'm rich enough and I'm popular enough and I'm good enough at something where I can kind of say what I want, when I want, how I want, and y'all got to just deal with it. I kind of do that now, but I'm not rich enough to really do it like I want to do it. I still have to I'm unfiltered-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still got mortgages to pay. You feel me? Like, that still has to be done. I got to do that. But Troy Aikman, he was on The Ticket, and he said this about the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers. Troy said on Dallas wide receivers, I think the routes are terrible. I think they run terrible routes. And I've thought that beyond this year. I think CD has got to improve his route running. As a quarterback, if you're not certain where a guy is going to be consistently, it is hard to play the position. That's what I see. I see guys lazy coming off the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they run. Usually, if they do, it's because they're anticipating that they're going to get the football on that play. But if they're not, they don't. And it all ties together. I'm not impressed with it. I'm not impressed with that part of it. Troy went on to also say, I just finished watching the Baltimore Ravens because I have them this week. You put on the film and you watch their receivers run routes. They come off the ball. So that's San Francisco's, so that's Green Bay's, and others. It's hard to play quarterback position. It's hard to play the position, quarterback position, if you're not certain how guys are going to run routes and where they're going to be. I'm not speaking for Dak. Dak may say, hey, I think I like their routes. They're amazing. But as a former quarterback watching it, it's got to get a lot better. Woo! Old Troy. And I can't say that I don't agree with Troy. But I will say this. As someone who has played the position, no, I am not CeeDee Lamb. But I've been in enough meetings. I've been in enough huddles, playbooks. I believe what you are seeing currently now with the Cowboys wide receivers. And, oh, by the way, CeeDee Lamb, while he may, Troy's words, may not feel like he's running his routes the best or the receivers in general, CeeDee Lamb right now is 5th in the NFL in receiving yards with like 583 yards, give or take. 5th in the league. So there's that. Also, one of the things that we continue to talk about when it comes to CeeDee Lamb is the separation. And not just CeeDee Lamb, but the Cowboys wide receivers. But CeeDee Lamb's numbers when it comes to separation. 2 years ago, he was at 3.2 yards of separation. It's a lot in this league. Last year, he was at 2.3 yards separation. This year, he's at 2.1 yards on average separation on the passes that he gets coming his way. So the number has begun to regress, and the windows for Dak Prescott has gotten tighter. We've all talked about already about CeeDee Lamb, how he comes alive in the first half, and in the second half, he's gone missing. And some may say, oh, that's cloud coverage, and they're double teaming him and all the kind of stuff. Since football's inception, not football's inception, since the passing game's inception, number one wide receivers has been getting doubled. There's no new phenomenon that's happening specifically towards CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek Hill gets doubled, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. If you're a number one receiver in this league, you will probably get double team at some point in time. But like I was saying, here's what I feel like is happening. As a receiver, when I hear the play and the quarterback gives the play in the huddle, break. We break the huddle. I go and line up. I check the coverage. I have a really, really, really good understanding of how this is going to play out. I'm not 100% because coverage has changed, guys disguise things, but I can look at certain things. I can see certain things, and I can know, whoop, up there in the cover two, my route in cover two gets converted. I'm probably not getting the football. Oh, look, safety shaded over. I had this route. They're double teaming me. Probably not getting the football. Oh, they're in man-to-man. This is happening. Oh, I'm the first read in this. You know that. You understand that. Now, this is not me making an excuse for CeeDee Lamb or absolving him of any wrongdoing that he may do on some of these routes. Because I do think that there is a portion of CeeDee Lamb where, like, you look at the interception that he had last week, the corner route. In my eyes, that was still close enough to you to go and at least hit the DB. Do you catch it? Probably not. But maybe you create enough collision with him where he doesn't catch it. Because I'll take an incompletion all day long over an interception. Because at the least bit, we get 3 points. But I am believing that CeeDee and others in this offense are starting to be a little bit, what word should I use here? Disgruntled, annoyed, frustrated. I'll use the word frustrated. Frustrated with the schematic workings of this Michael from Pittsburgh's offense. And so when guys break the huddle and you know that you're running another one of these routes that'll probably get covered, that the defense know what I'm running, and there's lack of creativity, there's not much motion. The Cowboys are like 30th in the league in using motion, 26th in the league using motion overall. And you continue to run these basic routes over and over and over and over and over again. Guys, receivers, yes, we're divas, begin to think, I'm just out here running cardio. And if the ball is coming to me, it's going to be a very tight window throw. I'm probably going to take a big hit or something of that nature. Let me repeat myself. I am not excusing CeeDee Lamb if there is a lack of enthusiasm, if there is a lack of anything, consistency, being where he's supposed to be. And Troy's uses CeeDee's name, but I think he was talking about the whole group. A lot of that's because this Michael from Pittsburgh's offense, Michael McCarthy from Pittsburgh, his offense is bland. And what's starting to happen is guys are starting to look around and starting to tone down and tune out Michael from Pittsburgh's offense. Guys are not stupid. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and any other person you want to name on this football team, you know what they know? They know, without a shadow of a doubt, that Mike McCarthy, that Mike Zimmer, all have 1 year left on their contract. And at this point in time, and at this juncture, it looks as if they are not going to be here next year. So now I get upset because this offense is lame. The route combinations and the route schemes are lame. And now I keep trying to have this coach tell me that I need to do X, Y, and Z better. And I'm looking at him like, Cuzzy, you're gone in 3 months. My willingness to listen to you, my willingness to take what you're telling me has gotten up and is gone. It isn't my passion to go out here and play for you. And this sounds wild and this sounds crazy. I got my bag. So whatever motivation that I did have that was pushing me because I've stopped respecting you and I stopped wanting to play hard for you was me getting my contract. Feel how you feel, fans, about that, but it happens. I'm not saying that this is CD. I'm just speaking for Jesse Holley. But I got my bag now. So I'm good. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. I'm going to be around for a little while. You're not. You've come to a place where now you're fighting to survive, to stay alive, to be able to even have ways of employment next year in this football team. And I think it's starting to spill over onto the football field. Because I don't take CD as a guy who loafs, as a guy who doesn't. Now, he has his moments where he's a diva and he complains and he can pouts. I can point to every receiver that's in this league, especially the number one receivers, who all do it. It's just a part of the DNA now. It's been going on since football's been going on. Michael did it. Jerry did it. Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Larry Fitzgerald, Plexico Barris, Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden. You name the receiver. If they were a number one receiver, they can play. Randy Moss. And the list goes on and on. This is what we do. But I have a firm belief in my heart that you are seeing in real time the implosion of this football team. Players aren't holding themselves accountable. We hear it every week. Every single week we're hearing it. Guys got to hold themselves accountable. Got to look in the mirror. I don't know how much more mirror we looking in. You can look in that mirror all you want. I've said this before in this program. One of my favorite inventions of all time is the mirror. Because the mirror tells no lies. If you got crust in your eye, mirror gonna tell you. If you got a booger in your nose, mirror's gonna tell you. If you got something in your teeth, your lips are crusty, your face is red, whatever it is, your hair is all crazy, the mirror is going to let you know. What the mirror is not going to do is fix it. The mirror is not going to reach off the wall and flick out the booger in your eye. The mirror is not going to reach around and grab a couple of 2-ply pieces of Charmin from the toilet roll and wipe your nose. The mirror is never going to reach around, grab your toothbrush, turn it on, and brush your teeth. Take that out. That's pause. But brush y'all tongue. Brush y'all tongue. The mirror's not going to do that. It's just going to identify the problem. So I keep hearing, God got to look into the mirror, look into the mirror, look into the mirror. Yeah, but you got to leave the mirror and do something about it. And the message, and my belief, from Michael McCarthy from Pittsburgh, from Zim, from whoever coaches, position coach, is begun to fall on deaf ears. And we're about to see this thing really, really implode. The pressure is mounting. The pressure is on the backs of those who have to go out here and coach and play this game. And it's unfortunate. We talked about it earlier. The general manager hasn't been helping you. He put together a roster that right now is 3-3. But I've never been around, and I've been around football a long time. I've never seen a more down bad 3-3 record with 11 games left. Seemingly, it feels like, it's not reality, but it feels like there's no more hope. And it feels like this bye week is one of those where guys get away, but they don't come back better. This bye week seems like it was just a break in the inevitable. And that when this team comes back, you're going to still have bad practices, poor assignment alignment, poor effort. And the outcome of these games look pretty much the same. The 49ers are up next. And let's be honest, they might run for 200 yards too. But we'll see. All right, let's hit a few more things, man, and get up out of here. NFL trades that happen. Look at there. NFL teams are trying to get better. Woof. Got to take notes, Jerry. Teams see a need. Teams see players available. We get told so much about caps and cash and what they can and cannot do. Teams are like, okay, but we're going to go out there and get better. The New York Jets make a trade with the Vegas Raiders, sending Davante Adams from the Raiders back to his original boo, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, after the trade was made, Tom Brady had his appearance on the McAfee show. What did I call it? Tom Brady? I'm saying Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers, excuse me. I'm looking at Tom Brady right here on my screen. Aaron Rodgers had his weekly blurb on the Pat McAfee show. And he was sitting there and he kind of looked over to his right. And he did one of those. And in walked Davante Adams. And I have not seen a man smile that hard since Nelly spun the block on Ashanti. Aaron was smiling. Aaron was cheesing that he got his boo back. Now, I don't know if this will help. I don't know if this will be able to turn things around for the New York Jets. But what I do appreciate is the Jets saying we are actually going all in. That they were making the moves to say that, you know what? We're having a problem. Our quarterback's asking for this. We're going to get it. And we're going to attempt to make our team a little bit better. And in the same state of New York, The Buffalo Bills, who traded away their number one receiver last year, I can call him disgruntled. He was a little bit disgruntled. He was a little bit, what word am I looking for? Coarse. He was a little bit porcupine-y. He, being Stephon Diggs, he and Josh Allen, they didn't see eye to eye anymore. They shipped him up out of there to the Texans. And the Bills went on about business and thought to themselves, we'll draft one, and they did, but we'll do this wide receiver by committee. Well, that's not really working as they thought it would. It's okay. But they saw an opportunity to go, can we improve our football team? We look here, we're in the AFC East. We have to contend with the Jets. Not only do we have to contend with the Jets within our division, in our conference, there's still the Baltimore Ravens. Got to deal with those guys. Really good defense. We'll have to most definitely deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. And what they also did was saying, we can't let the other guys grab Cooper, meaning the Chiefs. So let's better our team, and let's keep that team who we'll most undoubtedly have to face to get to the Super Bowl not get better. Well, both of those teams got just a tad bit better. Great trades. You got arguably, in my opinion, the two best route runners in this league. Now, they're up there in age. But what these guys give you, they give you a level of knowledge, stability, ability to go out there and be competitive. At least for the Bills, I will say the Bills, that trade continues to put them in Super Bowl contention without a shadow of a doubt. They are one of the top 5 Super Bowl contending teams in this league right now. The Jets, I don't know what the Jets are. I don't know. I don't know what they are. Good defense, I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're a contender. I don't know what they are. I know they got better with adding Davante Adams. That I do know. And maybe he and Aaron Rodgers can spark a little bit of chemistry and get things back moving in the right direction. Last little NFL note. I mentioned his name earlier. Tom Brady. What is he, 7-time Super Bowl champion? 7 Super Bowl champions, multiple MVPs, a walking first ballot Hall of Famer. He's now doing football, working for Fox. $375 million that Fox gave Tom Brady to join their crew. The rich just keep getting richer. The rich just keep getting richer. Tom Brady was recently approved by the owners of the National Football League to be a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Tom Brady owns 5% of the Raiders. All good, right? Sure. Guy made a bunch of money. He's a handsome man, TB12. He dressed well. He speaks well. He's articulate. He's loquacious. He's funny. Goes and puts his name in the hat to be a part of a minority ownership group. And he's approved. All great, everybody, right? Yes, high five. Psh, 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 psh. Everything's good. Oh, but wait. Small little tidbit in that. Well, now that Tom Brady is an owner in the National Football League, there are some rules that old Tommy boy much obliged by. And this is very conflicting because, like most owners, they don't cover games on Sunday. for the National Football League. Not for the National Football League, of the National Football League, for Fox. Most owners mind their house. They worry about their team and their team only. Well, Tom Brady is still a contributor and a broadcaster and analyst for Fox. He's on the A team. He covers the games on Sunday. Well, here's what Tom Brady can no longer do as an analyst, as a color guy on the Fox network, because he is now a minority owner of the Raiders. Tom Brady not permitted to be in another team's facility. Well, why does that matter, Jesse? Well, most of the time, teams, when you go and you're working for Fox or you're working for ESPN or whoever is covering the game, you do these pre-show production meetings where Tom Brady and whoever his co-host is, they go into the home team's facility and sit down with either the head coach, the star quarterback, or the star player. And this is how they have their conversation to formulate their pre-show information. What else can Tom Brady do? Well, because Tom Brady is a minority owner of the Raiders and a Fox analyst, Tom Brady's not permitted to witness another team's practice. Most of the time, those guys get in on a Saturday and they're at the facilities where the home team is practicing at, doing their final walkthroughs, and they may come out before they do their pre-show production meeting, and they will watch practice. Well, because Tom Brady is the minority owner of the Raiders, he can no longer watch practice. Tom Brady, like I told you before, is not permitted to attend broadcast production meetings, which are held at team facilities. Tom Brady is also prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials or other clubs. So Tom Brady, while he's in the game, while he's covering the game for Fox, play-by-play, because he is the minority owner of the Raiders, and that ownership means you can no longer publicly criticize the refs. So when the ref make a bad call, you can't go, "Oh, that's a bad call," live on TV. You have to now leave that up to your co-host or the host of the show. And you can't criticize another team, meaning you can't cover a Cowboys game and go, "Boy, that Cowboy team, Jerry Jones, man, they did a really bad job of signing free agents in the offseason." While it may be true, Tom Brady, because he's a minority owner of the Raiders, cannot criticize he can't criticize other clubs. Tom Brady also is subjected to the NFL's gambling policy. Tom Brady cannot gamble on games. Tom Brady can't do the betting or the fantasy, all that kind of other stuff. Tom Brady can't do it. Even though he's no longer in the NFL, he is an owner of an NFL team. Can't gamble on NFL games. Can't gamble on your phone in NFL facilities, on their Wi-Fi, or any of that. And also, Tom Brady is now subjected to NFL anti-tampering policies. See, when Tom Brady was just Tom Brady, TB12, he can talk to and about all these other players. He can go to different events and be around these guys and all that kind of stuff. Well, now that Tom Brady is a minority owner, some of those things he are now prohibited and restricted to do, and would be fined. His team would be fined by the NFL if he broke those rules. Man, sometimes it's good to be rich. In Tom Brady's case, I guess these are good problems to have. I get paid to cover these games, and Fox and I can't go back on their contract because I used that $375 million with the money that I made in the National Football League and through 3B12 to put my bid together to get 5% stake in the Raiders. So it all works hand in hand for Tom Brady. The rich get richer, the handsome get more handsome, and he owns a team. All right, man, that is it for me. The Cowboys are on a bye this week. So I hope those guys are resting up. I hope those guys honestly, I hope they got away from football. You do need to have a moment of time when you get away from football, and you don't have to always necessarily be a part of it because it can be consuming. These guys spend, and I know you're going to say, it doesn't feel like it. They spend more time at the football facility than they do with their natural families. I lived it. I know it. So for those guys, even though a lot of you don't feel like they deserve it, they do deserve to get away from the game for just a little bit. I hope that they don't get any trouble. I hope that they come back refreshed. And I actually hope that they look into the mirror, which I doubt they will, because accountability on this team and this generation is few and far between, even with their owner. All right, man, that's it for me. Remember, don't forget, while you're busy doubting yourself, someone else is admiring your strength. While you're busy doubting yourself, someone else is admiring your strength. That's all I got, man. See you guys next week. Have a great weekend. For the Cowboy fans, you don't have to stress. You don't have a game this weekend. You can put your stress off till next week when you got to deal with the Boombox Boys in San Francisco. That's coming our way next week. So, all right, man, that's it for your boy, Jay Holley. Remember, like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Put me in the group chats. Unfiltered with Jesse Holley on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, Fanatics Views on Twitter and Instagram. Hit me up on Mr. Fourth and Long. You can find me all week long on my many other platforms that I get out here. I'm everywhere. Follow me everywhere. Hanging with the boys. Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. DLLS Cowboys. Believe in the Cowboys. A to Z Sports for the pre and post game show. And I'm outside. Y'all already know that. All right, that's it for me, man. Remember, eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.